So where are we today?
Well, you're in Beaumont, Texas, small little town due east, actually, of Houston.
And
You're in Basic Foods, our health food store.
and your name is?
Mary Smith.
And what do you do here?
I'm the general manager, also one of the partners in the limited partnership of this store.
Okay. And
I'm one of the buyers and associate managers of the store.
your name is?
Patty Howie.
Great. Thanks for having us here today. Why don't you give us a little background on how Basic Foods came to be?
Well, two of the main investors of the store many years ago, actually I think we're starting our 19th year, both had health issues. One had cancer that was in remission at the time. The other had some sort of a GI issue that was major for her. It was causing a big autoimmune condition for her. And these two women were driving to Houston to go shopping at a large health food store there that had what we call clean food that's void of preservatives and all that kind of nonsense, meats that are absent of antibiotics and that kind of thing. So that's what started the store. They were talking and said, we need to get something like this in Beaumont, and they were able to get an investment group together, and a year or two later the store was born. And our mission is always has been to be about trying to find the right foods, the right supplements to really work on health needs.
We met yesterday and we talked, and you had mentioned something that I thought was kind of important. You guys do a great deal of research collectively, the both of you. Why is research so important to you guys?
Well, it's really important number one, this industry isn't regulated by the FDA. So when we bring in supplement items, we feel it's our responsibility to police what we bring in, because we want to be able to sell something that we feel very comfortable in offering to the public. And this industry, you can buy something out there that says it's an example ginkgo, and find out that there's no ginkgo in it, and that's not being helpful.
And how do you source that? How do you research that?
Well, it's the companies that we choose. We choose companies that do independent assays, that assay their raw materials coming in to their facilities, that do a lot of internal policing on their own, that have facilities that are FDA approved, that the FDA has looked at their facilities, companies in good standing. That's what we look for. We start actually getting a little concerned when those companies, after many years, sell to the big grocery not chains, but the big umbrellas, that we start wondering about. Are the ingredients going to be changed in any way? Because there's some areas that you can certainly hide. The bottom 5% of the word organic is left open to what the manufacturer may want to put into it. So we worry about all those little things like that. We have a relationship with a company, and we have faith in their mission. It's good, but when they get sold, then we have to start questioning the mission of the company buying.
You brought Patty in when we talked about doing an interview. Can you tell me why we're sitting with both of you guys? What did you think Patty brought to the...
Patty adds a whole lot of knowledge and many years of research in the product line, and so much of it is due to some health issues she had years ago, and it brings a perspective that's helpful.
Patty, can you tell me why you're so passionate about this industry and research and what people digest?
Most definitely. I did lose my health when I was young, about the age of 30, at a dramatic stage, and with a dramatic diagnosis, in my opinion. And I began to hear contradictions in the answers to health. And so I had to start looking at alternatives, because the things I did try didn't end well, so I had to start looking at the contradictions, the different opinions, and when I wasn't getting well with just the medical help and my lack of knowledge of nutrition, I had to go that route. And I saw people and I heard about people getting well, through other pathways. And I was starting to hear there were starting to be things on TV, I was starting to meet people, and that's what led me to start to investigate. I lost my health and I had to find the answers. I still wanted to live. And what I had been taught and brought up was not enough. It wasn't working.
So could you tell me, just if you're comfortable, what was your diagnosis?
Cervical cancer was one of the things, yes.
And when you have found through your research, and we talked about this a little bit before, about how necessary it is for the pH balance of the body. Is that accurate?
Right. One of the naturopaths that I met along the way, he wrote a book called The Battle for Health is Over pH. And I was already practicing that without even knowing that's what I was doing initially. But our 95% of the diseases were told from one source dwell in an acidic environment, and cancer just one of those things. And so the other 5% can be too alkaline. But when your body is in that perfect pH state, then it doesn't leave a hospitable environment for any of the disease states. So I went further to find out that it was the toxins and chemicals and stress in my life that was contributing to the acidic environment of my cells. And so I began to seek out ways to turn that around. And food was and nutrition was the first place I was guided to do that with.
Great. So that's why you're passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Marianne, you're incredibly passionate from talking to you about research, sourcing, knowing what's going on with the food that's coming into the store, because you will not put a product out unless you know it meets your standard.
That's correct.
Why do you think you're so driven? Because you are clearly driven by that.
We have to go back a little bit. When I stepped into this business 19 years ago, I came from a very medical model. And, we passed out pills and we thought we were curing people. We use that word curing all the time, but we were really just putting a patch on it. But I didn't see that 18 years ago. I was getting into this industry and having all the reps, predominantly the reps from the supplement industry coming in and talking about supplementation and how, supplements hit the cellular level, and just learning that it's all about nutrition to the body or food to the body that allows the body to heal itself. And so that was kind of my awakening, and it became very important that if we were going to sell to the public, that we sell the best quality. And so we've continued to look as new products come in, and years ago we had our shelves full of what are called isolates in the vitamin department. You'd pick up a vitamin and it was an isolate. It was an isolated A and B and D and C. It wasn't coming from food. And we thought vitamins are good, but then we learned that there's the next step to that, and that's food. And so now you have a generation of vitamins that are actually food in a capsule. Well, your body's going to see food 100%, absorb 100% of it, use what it wants, get rid of the rest. It's not going to do that with isolates. If you're lucky and they put a nice, citrate on the backside of this isolate, maybe you'll absorb 20%. So our concern was, where'd the other 80 go? Let's talk about the other 80, and we certainly don't want to continue to have products that we don't feel are good. And that's the direction we've chosen to take. Patty has taken it a step further as she's investigated the other. When you look at any product, you turn it over, there's the other. Well, the other is something like, magnesium stearate. These are excipients that are put into products to make the product go through the capsule machine a little bit more efficiently. So now all of a sudden you've got a product inside a capsule that was only put there so that could flow through a machine better, and yet you're consuming tons and tons and tons of this excipient. So, you know, we've now started moving those products out of the store. And I'd say to the most part we're probably 80-90% there, really. On the you know, when you read what's in that capsule, it's going to be just that herb. It's not going to have magnesium stearate. And when you look at that vitamin, it's not going to have magnesium stearate, just helping that product get into a capsule. And we've taken it all the way to, you know, produce. 80, 90 pesticides can be identified on any given conventional produce. You know, we talk about meats being natural, without antibiotics and steroids and that kind of thing, but there's a step further there. You know, you need to know about the fats in those natural meats, and they can be organic meats, but if they're not grass-fed, their fat's really not healthy. So it's every step along the way. It's learning, reading, evolving to where we are now here with the kinds of foods that we offer.